Welcome back to the podcast, listeners. You're listening to Sovereign Peacekeeping Matters discussion podcast. I'm Joseph Hayes, Executive Director of the Peacekeeping Task Force. This is episode 21B. So we're going to close out fall 2014 with the 111 articles. This is a closeout for that season as a review, a final review. Today we're tying up key threads, from all those articles as a myriad of articles of various concerns at that time, especially how this season frames the grand jury process or introductions to the process, public accountability along those lines, lawful evidence handling, and the like. It's a really fascinating kind of introduction, although as readers can see from the articles and glean from that effort, that grand jury research and familiarity is all throughout those who helped with the Federation get the necessary research together and procedural effort. So it's really good as introduction for those who are not yet schooled with grand jury process. So anyway, let's wrap this up thoughtfully here. Again, season 2014 in the fall, closing out these 111 articles. But do keep in mind the context of the season as a recap. 2014, it isn't the densest season for direct PKTF hits or content within the articles. But again, that's exactly why I consider it valuable. My colleagues as well consider these earlier articles very valuable, if only for the effort and the need for such a peacekeeping organization, if anything, to help empathize with the concerns at that time of the people and the Americans and those who are on the other side of this effort with not a lot of reciprocating correspondence or acknowledgement along the lines of the effort. Very daunting, or it could be considered very daunting, trying to expedite these services, or at least allow these services to be discussed and debate and recognized, respected as debatable content. And those are the dynamics ultimately. It gives us the background signals on jurisdiction, public authority, public service, and all of the lawful law enforcement dynamics all tied into these earlier articles. And again, they shouldn't be considered as legal footnotes, or at least that's not how the Peacekeeping Task Force considers these earlier articles. They do show the environment, though, where peacekeeping and civic response do play out ultimately. And our review traced articles from the same site, the same source as the source you see in the content, the AnnavonRights.com website. And as far as spotlighting recurring themes, they're definitely worth tracking. All articles from the very first to the very most recent. And so as we move forward into the winter season 2014, we do start to pull forward with that appreciation, the grand jury process, or the spotlight on the grand jury process. The standouts here, in my perspective, is the grand jury emphasis itself. Fall 2014 material, as you'll read, it pulls to ideas of General Assembly references, positions grand juries as a cornerstone of self-governance, which is really clever. I was really intrigued by realizing the potency of what a grand jury brings forward through their investigations. And definitely not considered courtroom extras. They never should be considered as a type of overflow asset or a kind of a what-if factor need. They should be a mainstay, of course, within any American common law court. And of course, there's citizen duty in action. Such actions, members have a readiness to serve, or a sense of of honor in this sense to be called to serve at random, and linking it straight back to lawful due process and jury nullification. So the framing that we get from these articles, the grand jury as everyday people stepping forward into lawful justice, seeking remedy, offering presentments that caters to remedy, a fair and balanced approach, and ensuring no unchecked power in this sense. So kudos to those within the Federation and the Living Law Firm and all of those contributors to these earlier articles. We really do appreciate your effort. So just think about that when you're reviewing the articles at your leisure as well, when you have time. In a seasoned light on peacekeeping volume or content to that degree, the civic call stands out ultimately. It's about ordinary folks holding the line on lawful process, and it doesn't wait for any top-down fixes or attempts at remedies under color of law. So please do check out, peruse through those articles, and this is what we found regarding some of that content, on top of other content that was expressed during that time period. Along those same lines as well, we gleaned the jurisdiction and the authority ties, the jurisdiction and authority ties, as pieces repeatedly stress clear justification. For instance, going back to the October 2014 final judgment and civil orders, we discussed this in previous episodes. This document hammers that institutions must declare their authority up front. No presumptions allowed, nothing to that degree, no presumptions or assumptions. And the grand jury work here fits right in. It essentially is the checks against any kind of fuzzy claims, demanding transparency for any kind of other action or de facto type action. So it's truly the essence of checks and balances, seeking remedy and justice. So we hope you maybe take away what we have taken away from regarding that aspect of authority, justice, justification, and authority. Another emphasis on justification and authority, one I find exceptionally interesting, is the trust factor built through the lawful process itself. And when any kind of jurisdiction blurs, the accountability portion of those jurisdictional boundaries tends to fade. And all in all, the 2014 articles reminds me is to track who claims power and how they prove it, how they respond to such power, being power to assume and take self-governing responsibilities very seriously and handle such responsibly and rationally, and all the levels of purpose and intent. So again, the grand jury is really the mainstay. It should have always been the mainstay. An emphasis as well on jury trials and trial by jury being that of the distinction between jurisdictions and helping to sharpen those lines that may be blurred between those two types of justice-seeking venues. And then that, last but not least, actually it's first, but not least, the evidence handling portion and notifications. Through the grand jury process, evidence gets equal airtime. Sworn testimonies in the form of an affidavit, other kinds of parallel types of truth in fact, true bills, anything that carries the essence of truth or what is true, what can be entered into the record as what is true, and researched. Rebuttals, proper notices, all of these are non-negotiable in the sense that they are considered truth or what is true concerning any claim or concern that makes it to a grand jury. and then beyond. And do note that grand juries of all sorts are intended to thrive in this way. Evidence handling is, and reviewing is all part of the effort, the honest effort. In essence, they sift through evidence with full disclosure, no shortcuts. Everything is lawful. Again, purpose and intent lends itself exceedingly to lawful channels, all doing their job, protecting the record, all the above. So again, this is what led us, or myself especially, dedicated to reviewing these articles and then putting forward my most appreciative points about them in a timely manner, of course, And not just grand juries as an emphasis within these articles and within this season, but law enforcement angles are weaved in here as well. They're not heavy in this series or this season, but the subtext is clear, dealing with law enforcement, acknowledging law enforcement, writing to and replying to law enforcement, particularly sheriffs of various counties, so you'll see those as well, and ultimately authority or discernment. Missed opportunities for discernment without process always invites trouble. Trouble being that of anything less than remedy and justice. So, and in this case, evidence must flow right, being correctly, or the whole chain or effort, it weakens. This being chain of custody, any portion of evidence handling and notice handling, any responses to handling and passing evidences off to those who would then are charged with investigating such evidences, the chain must remain recognized and consistent in that effort. So again, these are all in all, the other portion of the takeaways, which wraps up episode 21, this one being 21B. And so here we are, folks. Thank you all for encouraging and offering your suggestions on how we approach each and every one of these articles, and in this case, many thousands. So again, thank you all for those who've expressed your encouragement and appreciation for our effort. We know that our law enforcement audience out there also appreciates this very same effort. It's very time consuming. We're completely aware of that. It's time consuming for us as well as American peacekeepers and peace builders, especially peace builders, because our best effort is to help bridge a familiar structure for purposes of meeting halfway, crossing back and forth along jurisdictions, and becoming more familiar with this same effort. This is all about what the Peacekeeping Task Force was designed for. This is what it was tasked for, and this is what we will continue to provide. And as we step into and back out of each season with each article, and we become more aware of and appreciative of the content from those articles, international public notices, and other types of archived material, we hope that you can continue to appreciate our honest effort in that. But so looking back into the 2014s, again, it's sparse but sharp. Our main focus, attempt to take away from the beginning and build up from whatever other takeaways that we do have. Again, we're wanting to help to identify where peacekeeping in particular, or peace building, where those two are significant within these articles. Because we don't want to, in all efforts here, we choose not to leave any stone unturned, and our approach in explaining what our purpose is comes from these articles, because we are chartered by the same lawful entity, American entity, known as the Federation. So do keep that in mind, and we will remind our listeners periodically as to that trajectory or that aiming point comes from our efforts come from that particular perspective. And just know that at least as far as the wrap-up goes for 2014, it spotlights the grand jury process as the civic backbone, jurisdiction checked, as well as the evidence proven, accountability driven. Really, again, really fascinating. It's not a flood of material regarding peacekeeping. Try as you might, we're not going to find. We haven't found. You may interpret some material or content paragraphs and some interpretations as something needing to be focused on or discussed further regarding law enforcement and those things within 2014. It does signal a revisit each and every time we do stumble across those earlier content, and if they fit in the current here and now especially. So just consider, as we would do, consider the entire archive as it grows. It in itself, it lends itself value backwards and forwards as a type of living, breathing experience of content that's been published internationally. And how these threads evolve is really it's an interesting dynamic. And then what do they mean for PKTF's work ahead? Again, that's our main takeaway. And so this season, in my opinion, it closes out fairly strongly, clarifying the landscape overall. We don't have a lot of volume necessarily, again, as I've noted, but again, it's more about what endures. So, again, that's episode 21B. Please consider carrying these themes forward, all of you listeners, new listeners, and listeners since we began earlier this year. Thanks for joining the review. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. Please do share. Please stay vigilant. And we'll see you in the next season very soon. Thank you.